Okay, let's just do sort of team news, things like that. Anything picked up from the weekend that's going to cause you problems for Saturday?
No, all good.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone came through. So had everybody out on the grass Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and yeah, we're all good to go.
And you've got a couple that are sort of getting closer to coming back. Anybody in contention for the weekend?
George Murphy's done a little bit, but unfortunately he got a whack on the other ankle yesterday in training. We weren't quite competitive, so we've got to see how he is. But he trained mostly yesterday, so see how he responds. But apart from that, Ross is getting closer, so he's joined in some training this week as well. So yeah, he's heading in the right direction.
Okay. And Rob Atkinson, is he anywhere in that vicinity?
Yeah, he's fully training now as well. So I think the big bit with Rob is building up his load, so making sure you get enough sessions and game minutes in him to to be ready so that he doesn't break down again. So he's training well, and yeah, he's in a good spot.
Yeah. Are you sort of more inclined with him maybe to give him a couple of under 23s matches, just because then you can have a bit more control than you might do in a championship match?
Yeah, we will do. I think we've got a decent 21s game on Monday as well, so there might be a few involved as well as that. So I think it's definitely a case of that. When you've been out for so long, building up that just that base of minutes, and just getting back to your body moving. You can train and you can do certain bits, but you can never replicate what a match feels like or looks like. So we'll definitely we'll keep building him up that way.
Okay. I'm sure you've sort of sat down and gone through Saturday as an exercise with a little bit more perspective on it. What you made of your team's performance?
Yeah, probably quite similar to what I felt after the game. I thought it wasn't good enough. It wasn't what we want to be like. So I think, like I said, it's not about not losing games, it's how you lose. So the frustrating bit is on us. Probably I thought they were well set up, but when you look at the goals, ultimately it was on us, and they only had 3 shots on target as well. So I still feel if we'd taken the chances second half, even at 2-0 down, we'd have been able to get back into the game and go from there. But it wasn't to be. So again, I think we have to take the lesson and make sure that we don't replicate it. Because ultimately, like I said, we'll win games, we'll lose games. It's more the manner that you do it. So lads have been great this week. They've we had a real tough meeting and some real honesty put out there on Monday. With conversation, but also video work. The group were rightly so pretty flat, but I think what they then did, really responded right, and the training's been top yesterday and today. So it's taking that same buzz, that energy, that personality. That we have plans and we can do tactical bits, of course. But the second you step on the pitch and the whistle starts, it's a little bit where you've got to get your ego out and dominate your jaws and go, right, I'm going to be better than you, and then as a collective go, right, us as a group's going to be better than you. So I think it's that, backing that up with your actions. We can talk about it, we can go through everything, but ultimately the second the whistle starts is stepping up, taking responsibility and showing what you're about.
So is it, looking back at it, was it individual mistakes? Was it sort of people not doing what they're supposed to do in a system? Where was the failure effectively?
Hey, if I knew the answer exactly for that, it would make my head a lot better over the weekend and the start of the week. I can assure you that. But hey, we analyse everything, and I think when you look at it, the big bit, energy needs to be better. The aggression, the desire to compete. The basics of the game that are non-negotiable, which this group have shown over and over again. I think it was only a couple of games ago we played Millwall at home. And like I said, showed the level of aggression and how much it means to us. So it's about making sure that that's on a bad day, because you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. What do we look like on a bad day? And that's making sure that we we grind, we fight, we scrap, we spin balls in behind and chase, and you do those sides of it. Because we'll have another bad day again in the future. Is how do you make sure that you fight to get something from those games?
There was an improvement in that second half when you'd made a couple of changes and Max moved back into the sort of more holding role and Scott Twine went more central. Is that something that is in your mind for the weekend?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly. I'm not going to give you my team now, so I'm not going to tell you what it will look like. I think so. I think, look, we had people come in at different times. You've got to remember the window didn't shut only 2 weeks ago, so Twiney came in late, Luke McNally came in late. So again, I think in terms of you then get that. When you look at the performance against Coventry, the first half against Derby being so good, you kind of go, right, let's try and replicate that. But then, some people maybe not in their best slots. It's always a juggling act, I think. So it's about, of course, there's a level of responsibility now on the players. We've got competition and depth where the players need to step up and take responsibility, as they will do, I'm sure. And then it's a case of making sure that we get people in their best slots to bring their strengths to the team.
I know you're not always somebody who sort of looks at the numbers in terms of this is the formation, that's how it has to stay, but certainly with Scott Twine having played off the left, and even when Anice plays out there, they tend to play quite narrow, which gives a lot of work for your fullback, Campering in this case, to get up and down and cover defensively. Your good run at the end of last year came with 3, which gives a little bit more cover. Is that been in your thoughts in terms of trying to get the best out of the pieces that you've got?
Yeah, I think the main bit on the out of possession the system stuff is out of possession. If you look at what we played last year and finished, obviously the back 3, it was ultimately the shape we create with the ball. So again, I think you have to try and complement strengths and weaknesses, and we do a huge amount to go right. What do we do well? What's good? And there's a lot of that, as well as what do we need to be better at. So they're things that we're constantly evaluating and looking at, and like I said, it's then trying to find a bit of rhythm and a bit of continuity in what we're trying to do.
It hasn't been a poor start to the season by any stretch of the imagination, but the last game and a half has certainly put a dampener on things. Are you sort of conscious of that coming into a home game against a newly promoted team where the expectation will be for you to go out there and dominate, hopefully, and win?
Yeah, of course, but I hurt like everybody in terms of associated with a club that I'm desperate to do well and win, and I think there has it. If you look at the first 5 games, 3.5 have been really good, 1.5's been poor, and again, I think when you look at it, probably the frustration is in terms of not getting 3 points at Hull, performing really well at home against Coventry and conceding 1 shot on target, and we get 1 point, not 3. Arguably if you've got more points on the table, it might everyone might feel a little bit more settled and calm, but again, I understand you have to win football matches as well. But again, the belief I've got in the group, when you see the level they've hit in those 3.5 games, we've brought in players that will improve. If you look at the age of Sinks and Fally and the connection with Twiney and Birdie, they're going to improve over time, and the way we work and the way we coach, you'll see that improve over time, as we did last season. The last 8 games wasn't luck; it was a result of lots of experience and hard work. So with this group again, I think it's very similar. Where it's sticking at it, it's being true to us, it's making sure the bare minimum, the non-negotiables are in place in terms of what we expect with the behaviours, and then going out and giving the best account of ourselves. And I think when we're at our best, we can compete with anybody.
Oxford come into this game on the back of it. They haven't got any points away from home, but they've been in both games and been perfect at the Kassam. They're certainly not just here to make up the numbers.
No, they've started the season well. Obviously, club I know well, players that I know well. So yeah, they've stepped up and done well so far.
And I think given that association, certainly some of the Oxford fans are less than complimentary about you. I would imagine that will sort of come out on Saturday. Is that something you're prepared for?
No, I'm not going to give it too much energy, to be fair. I mean, I find it slightly disappointing. It is what it is. It's football, right? If you look at where the club was at when we went in and where we left them in a much, much better spot. So it's what it is. I'm going to concentrate my energy on here and controlling what I can. I'm loving it here, enjoying it here, and I want to win games with the team we've got here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Obviously, you left Oxford November last year, wasn't it? Yeah. How would you assess your managerial progression since you left the Kassam?
In what sense?
Just how you've developed as a coach, and then obviously adapting to life in the Championship.
Yeah, it's when I spent a little bit of time in the summer thinking over. It's not I just think there is a jump up from League One to Champ in terms of level of player, style of game, level of game. The margins I think are a lot finer at Championship. So I've definitely learned a lot. I think in terms of when you look at a club the size of this, I think it's been good for me in terms of other areas behind the scenes that are different to League One as well. So I've learned bundles. I'm continually progressing. I'm the hardest person on myself because I want to be successful and I want to do it here. So all my energy daily is going into everything I can to make sure that me, the staff, and the players do that.
Do you feel like you're a better coach now for spending like almost 11 months now in the Championship? Do you feel like you're a better coach for it? Yeah,
of course. I think if you experience time, highs, lows, working with new players, different cultures, and new staff, different people. For me, again, I think how we are as a group of staff, in that we reflect on everything, and it's about improving, it's about getting better, it's about learning from mistakes, it's about learning from things that you do well. You can't not improve. So hard to nail down exactly what, because it's sometimes immeasurable. But I think definitely I feel I'm getting better.
We just spoke to Max O'Leary there. Obviously had a tough game on Saturday, but over the course of his career at Ashton Gate, we've just seen so many positives. Do you feel like he's capable to bounce back and put in a very good performance on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's on the group to respond. I don't think it's on any individual. I think the individuals have to take responsibility and step up. But it was a collective on Saturday. It was and it'll be a collective that goes into the game on Saturday. Hopefully with the desire, the will, the energy to respond in the right way, and move forward and try and replicate some of the positives we've seen so far this season. So yeah, for me it's the collective that has to make that happen.
Your midfield three has been unchanged, I believe, in all 5 games. Right. How would you assess those three and their performances so far this season?
Yeah, done well. I think if you look at it, I think that a bit of balance doesn't mean we won't change it. We changed it a little bit at the weekend, tried to. I think what you've got is players that complement each other's strengths slightly differently. 90, and there's always that when you pick a team, trying to find the balance and the connections between people, and sometimes when people have got a prior understanding and relationship and know each other's strengths and weaknesses, it can help. So when you look at it, I think there's still a lot more to come from them. I think when I look at the first 3.5 games especially, I thought did a really good job, and then obviously bits where the collective could have been better, including them in the 1.5 games, which I think the next bit is then going, right, how do we respond now at the weekend, and making sure as a 3, and again I love them, their characters, they're top competitors, and it's now taking that to Saturday.
How good is that, having that versatility within the 3 of them as well? Because obviously we saw Max Bird drop into that holding sort of role. How good is that versatility, and how much can you utilise that when you do sort of think of your team sheet?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps. I think having that where you can, yes, like I keep coming back to styles for games, certain games look different. Obviously, teams recently after Coventry last 2 blocked a little bit more, which then you might need a different quality in the base of your midfield to open people up, versus when it's a team pressing or maybe dual based. You've got maybe, especially like a Joe and a 90 for that one. So again, I think having the options, I think, is a big bit. That's why again I'm confident with the group in that we've progressed what we've added in the summer, and we've now got different profiles, different strengths, different qualities. It's now about trying to find an element of consistency with it, and trying to get slightly more settled.
On Saturday, you spoke to me afterwards and said you were looking to go back to basics, and there were going to be some hard meetings on Monday. What's the reaction been like from the players, yourself, and sort of what have you learnt from the group since then? I wouldn't say I've learnt anything I probably didn't know about the group. I think, when I look at the lads, they wanted the video, they wanted it straight, they wanted it honest. I think when you look at the group, I think that's what's good about them. You can be tough on them, you can show them the video of this has to be better, that's not good enough, etc., etc. And the players understand us as a group of staff. It doesn't come from a personal angle where you're trying to belittle someone or make them feel crap. I think it's quite clear that we're here to get better. We want to hit a certain level. There's a certain expectation on the standards that we set. We didn't hit them at the weekend, and we have to make sure that we learn from this, and going into the weekend that we hit the level we want. Luke McNally obviously made his debut. You've worked with him before, obviously.
I haven't.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay, sorry, my research has gone out of the wall there. How would you assess his debut on Saturday?
Yeah, it was a tough game for him to come into, right? I think in terms of, especially when you're new, you sometimes need the people around you to pull you through it a little bit. But I think he did some good bits. He did some bits that I know he'll have wanted to do better, like all the lads. So again, I think for me, his debute's done now. It's moving on and making sure that going into the weekend and beyond that, he brings the qualities which I know he will do because of the work we've done on him, and what he's shown at this level that he's capable of. Is now I'm quite looking forward to seeing him hit some consistent performances.